Today we will be seeing how we can use the functions in Python. So to define a function, you have to type the keyword def in Python. So let me separate it, and then you can type the name of your function. So now I will type the name of my function as fun1, and then you have to put these brackets and then put a colon. And now you know that you are inside the block of fun1, right? And then you can type something like print the function is is running, and then you can come out of the block and of course save it. You can press Ctrl S or you can go to save, and I will save it in the tutorial, and I will save it as function1, and extension is py, of course, right? Now when you want to call the function, you can simply call it like this, fun1, and let me run it. Yeah, so now you can see that I have the output, the function is running, so that's good. Let us now see if we want to pass some arguments in our function, then how will we do it? So it is a very simple process. Suppose you want to make your function perform summation of two numbers. So you can uh, tell your function that these are two numbers which you will receive from the user, and you have to sum them. So how do you sum them? You can add a third variable inside the block of the function and make it equal to x plus y, and then you can return z. So the return statement will return the sum of x and y. So let me not return it, let me print it, because that will be easier to understand. The sum of the two numbers is, and here I can simply put z, right? So it should print the sum of two numbers. So if I want to call my function now, I will simply type fun1 bracket, and I will type two numbers whose sum I want. So now I will save it and run this function. Oh yeah, there is an error. Yeah, okay. I think we don't use plus here, and I wonder if I can simply use comma, or if not, I will simply print it on a new line. It did not print or something happened. Oh yeah, it printed. So the sum of the two numbers is 56. So that's cool. That's cool. Our function is working properly. So that's your function. You can change this value and you will get a different output. Right now you've got a different output. So that's pretty good. And now suppose you want to return that value. Suppose you want to store the sum of these two numbers into some other variable outside the function, right? You want to use this value that is being calculated by the function. Then what will you do? You can simply return this sum, return z, and you can use this returned value. So let me now make a new variable. A is equal to fun1 12 comma 45. So what this statement will do, this will first run this function as it was running earlier, but this function will return the sum, which means that this function will run itself, and it will replace itself with the sum of these two numbers. So what is the sum? 57, right? I think you can get what I'm saying. Let me do it again. So this function will run itself. It will run itself as it was running itself earlier. But since we have put return statement, what will happen is this function will run and it will replace itself with 57. And why 57? Because 57 is the sum of 12 and 45. If you put something else, if you put 1 and 4, it will return 5. It will run itself and replace itself with 5. So now a will have the value 5. So that's the significance of return statement, right? So that's very important to know how return statement works. So let me now run this with some big values, and well, a is being assigned the value of fun1 56, 55, which is simply a sum, because we have defined fun1 as a function that performs summation and returns the value. So this program will not show any output, but let us run it anyway. So it did not show any output. Therefore, as I was saying, that it will not give output because we have not printed anything. But now let me print the value of a. In a we should have 56 plus 55. So let me see if we are getting that. So it is running. Yeah, we are getting 111, which is 56 plus 55. Right. So that's how functions work in Python. Right. So that's the very basic, and you can go a little bit advanced with the use of functions. So let me show you what other things you can do. Yeah, there it is. You can pass arguments in different ways. Like we have accepted two numbers in our function. You can accept 3, you can accept 4, any number of variables, any number of parameters you can accept in a function and use them inside the function if you want to use them. So you can have string, right? No problem. And you can have 2 arguments, 3 arguments. That's not a problem. Right. And here this is interesting. You can use something like the star character in order to, you know, specify that you don't know how many arguments you will be getting, and you can access all those arguments like you can access arrays. So let me explain this a little better here. So now I will let that function stay that way. I will not disturb it. Now let me make a new function. So I will call it new, and I will now put a star here, and I will say arguments, or I can say params, right? Anything, you can call it anything, any word which is, which Python does not use itself, like def or return, any other word, right? Anything. So now I have this params variable, which is actually an array. When I have put this star here and I have passed params variable inside this function, it means that params is now an array. So if I want to, just print the value of params, suppose it is I want to print params 0, like what is that 0 index in params. So I want to find that. So now I will run my function, and I will pass the parameter 23, the argument 23 to my function, and let's see what happens. So it printed 23, right? So yeah, 23, when I passed it, it was present in this params array, but at 0 position, so it got printed. But now if I want to print something which is at position 1, and I can add a new position by putting a comma. but I will not do that. Let me see if what it prints at position 1. Let me give an error. Yeah, yes, because tuple index out of range, because there is no position 1, right? But I have accessed it. I have only have one variable, one value here. But if I put another value, it will now have a position 1. So yeah, now it has a position 1 and it printed it. I can print both the positions also, like let me print both the positions. And I'm printing, but your major task will not be printing. It can be something else. I am printing just to show you that we can access this value. We can access these values like this. That's why I'm printing them. Yeah, we can access these two values by using params square bracket 0 or params square bracket 1 statements. So that's how you can access these values. So you can keep on increasing the number of parameters, and it will just keep on, it will accept everything, right? I can run this and it will simply show me 23 and 88. But suppose I want to see 63, then what will I do? You can count the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 63 is at 5th index. So I will type 5 here. I will remove this line. Now I will get 63 as output. Or yeah, more, if I want to say more correctly, I will get, well, I got 34. Why is that? 1 2 0 1 2 3 4. Oh yeah, you have to count from 0, so that's my mistake. 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? So arrays start from 0. So let me write it here so that it's not confusing to you and me also. Yeah, 1 2 3 4 5. So that's how array index works. It works from 0, so be careful about that. Right. So if I want to see 668, I will type 3 here. It just works like arrays, right? Nothing more fancy about it. So let me run this again and I will get 668, I hope. Yeah, 668. That's pretty cool. So now we have seen how to pass unlimited number of parameters to my function using this star symbol. Now let us move on and see what other things we can do. So you can see keyword arguments, right? You can, well, you are always using some keyword to tell the interpreter the name of your arguments, like x and y. So keyword arguments are like this. When you call the function, you can specify x and y. You can specify x is equal to 45 and y is equal to 6. You can do it like this. 5 y is equal to 6, right? You can do it like this also. X is equal to 45 and y is equal to 6. So let me print this. So I should get the sum here. Let me run it. So yeah, it returned the sum of 45 and 6. So that's working. That's what keyword arguments mean. And you can also write it in reverse. Generally, when you pass arguments to functions, you have to take care of the correspondence, like you have to take care of the sequence. If in the function definition you have x and y, so when you call the function you need to have x and y sequence. But when you use keywords, when you tell the compiler, the interpreter, that y is this specifically and x is this, then it will accept x and y the same way in which you have instructed it to, right? It will not give importance to the sequence anymore. It will just give importance to your keywords. So run the module. It will be the same answer, same output. So what happened? Yeah, it's the same output again. So that's good, right? So that's what keyword arguments are. So you can see here they have passed. They have they have a different sequence here: child 3, child 2, and child 1. But when they have called the function, they have first given the value of child 1, which is at the end in the definition. It does not matter because they are specifying that this keyword, the value of this keyword is this, and the value of child 2 is this, and the value of child 3 is this. So that's how keyword arguments work. And now this is also very interesting: arbitrary keyword arguments, star keyword arguments. So how do you use this? So let me tell you how you can use this. This is also very interesting. It also works like an array, but it's a little different. So let me write a new function for this. F my function, I will call it. And now I want to give double star and params. I am keeping the name same because otherwise it will lead to some confusion. Now I will print params, and I will call this value first value. Now that difference between this and this, I will tell you when I run the function. So let me now call my function. Wait, let me now call my function, and I will type first value is equal to 50, and I will run this function. It should print 50, right? Yeah, it printed 50, and so that's good. So but if I give a second value, suppose second value, I can give 67 second value. But since I have not used second value in my function definition, it will not change anything. So let me run it, and so yeah, it didn't change anything because we have not used the second value. So this is also working this in a similar way as this, but notice that instead of index positions, these are your index positions, right? Instead of giving index positions, we are giving the name of the you know name of the index, right? I hope it's clear, because in the end, when you put a star, it will mean that when whatever you pass into the function, all that will get bundled into an array. So when you have one star, that array is a simple array and you can access it using indices. But when you put two stars, again you have an array, but now that array does not have index values, it has keywords, right? It has keys which you can pass to the params array inside the square brackets and retrieve the value. So that's the only difference, right? That's how you can use unlimited keyword arguments and unlimited simple arguments in Python. So let's move forward. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, default parameter value is also important. So let me tell you about this also. Default parameter, you can have some parameters as default. So let me make a new function to make it more clear. Def what should I call it? I should just call it fun2, right? So now what I will do inside fun2 is I have x and y again, but I will put the value of x as 45 by default, right? And I will print x plus y. right? Okay. So when I call my function fun2, I will I will only specify the value of y, right? And it will automatically take the value of x because I have, I have a default argument, default parameter value, right? Let me run this, but there is some error. Let me clarify the error from here. What was the error? I forgot to see it. So yeah, non-default value follows default value. I think you have to write it like this. I wonder. Yeah, it seems so. So the answer is 50 because 45 plus 5 is 50. So Python says that right now you saw the error. You have to write the default values at the end and the non-default values in the beginning. Right. Okay. So that when you pass something like this to your function 5, this 5 will be given to y and not to x. But you can also give a value to x also. If you pass two arguments here, then you will have a sum of 5 and 66. But if you don't pass anything, then the interpreter will simply take the value of x as 45. So this is like a default value, right? This is a default value. But if you don't want to use default value, you can specify the value as something. Let me do this and the answer will be different this time. So yeah, the answer is different because the sum of 78 and 5 is not 50, it's something else. So that's how you can use default parameter values. Okay. So what else is there? Passing a list as an argument, I don't think you need to really look into it very deeply because you can pass an array and then access that array inside the function. So I don't think you will have any problem with this. It's not really very difficult. So yeah, return values we have already seen. Now we have the pass statement. If you don't want your function to do anything, you can simply write the pass statement inside your function. So I will now make a function do nothing and I will type pass. This function will do nothing. So let me run this program. It will be the same as before, but let us run it and see if it is actually the same as before. So yes, it is the same as before. So that's what it does nothing, but which is also, it can be important sometimes when you are making stubs and drivers, right? So in that case it may be important. Recursion is an advanced topic. I don't think you will need recursion while making text-based role-playing games, or even while doing any kind of scientific programming. You will not be needing recursion. It's kind of a trick to get your recursion correctly, at least for me. So I'm not going to explain recursion to you because I'm not very good at it myself. So yes, this one is simple, but otherwise I prefer using loops rather than recursion, but it's up to you what you want to use. So I am in no position to explain recursion to you. So that's what it is. You can read about it, of course, on W3 Schools on this website. That's okay. So yeah, that's about functions in Python. So next time we will see a little bit more. We will see how to make objects and classes and combine that concept with functions, and maybe we will have a look at inheritance also. So that's for next time, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.